but he's just an absolutely incredible director, and I've done a website on Oliver Stone for ever since 1995, and that's really what kind of led me to contacting him and meeting him last year. So I think we have Oliver on the phone now, though, and let's go over there and see.
Yeah, hi, Jason.
Yeah, hi there, Oliver.
No, I'm sorry, I completely missed the time, and I was...
Oh, it's okay.
It just went by, I just realized.
It's okay, I went on and on about your career and all that kind of stuff.
That must really be boring. No, but thanks. Anyway, I'm glad to be on.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. It's good to talk to you again.
This is like you sounding like a radio host now.
Yeah, I know. Do I sound all right, or?
It changes the tone, the rhythm of the speech.
Ah, well, yes, that is true. I haven't listened to myself much on it, but...
Yeah, I did a movie about it called Talk Radio back in the
in
the 80s. It was interesting. Eric Bogosian did a great job.
Yeah, absolutely. I first wanted to ask you about an item that was in the news lately about this planned sequel to Wall Street.
Yeah, that was, I don't know why that, you always wonder why some things surface and other things don't, right?
Right.
Blurb, in terms of, this was an issue that was discussed many months ago. We talked about possible projects. We met with Michael, and I decided not to go ahead at that time, and they moved on with another writer and presumably another director, and I wish him well. It sounds like it's a good idea. You have to have the passion for it.
Right.
I think having done one financial movie, it's not that easy to, I don't know, I think I did with my financial movie,
Yeah. Had a script already been written for it?
We wrote the script of Wall Street.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. Stanley Weiser and myself, yeah.
Oh, okay. And they just didn't want the...
No, they wanted to make a sequel.
Right.
Which I presume would be about Gordon Gekko. 20 years later, he gets out of jail and he goes back into the world,
Right.
And there are a lot of possibilities. It's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
The world has changed. In other words, Gordon is behind the times. He's like 20 years behind.
Right.
But he doesn't take long to catch up, being shark that he is.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. The next one I want to talk about was, I know a film that was really dear to your heart was Alexander.
Yes.
And we talked about I was talking about at the beginning of the show, how a lot of people viewed it as a disappointment, and you've gone back to the film not once but twice, and recently came out with the final director's cut. And I just want to talk a little bit about why you went back to it a third time and what really is new in that final cut.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I am 2.5 years late. And it's okay, I mean, it's trial and error. It's unfortunate for the film because it won't be seen by as many, but at least those who care, who liked it, to some degree, I think will be rewarded by watching it this version because it is the best, in my opinion, the clearest. And it tells the full story. It was uncut because it came out on DVD. It's 3 hours and 40 minutes, and in other words, I threw in everything that we shot in a coherent fashion. I wanted it was released. We should have released, but I don't think I could have won that battle in the United States.
Right.
It would have been a scandal at 3:38, 3:40 with an intermission. I wanted. So I don't think I was ready for that battle at that time. But in hindsight, I wish I had fought it because I think in Europe and in Asia it would have been appreciated at its original length. I really do. I think it's the best version, the most involving. Sometimes a longer film gets you more involved because you understand it better.
Right.
Whereas, because we were always trying to make a 3 hour and 40-minute roadshow vehicle with an intermission into a 3 hour and less movie for the modern market, you're trying to fit, a circle into a square hole. It just sometimes doesn't work.
Right.
And I went crazy for 2 cuts and almost a year trying to edit this thing down to 3 hours. But it was, unfortunately, I couldn't do it. It was never 3 hours. The script was always 3 hours and more. And sometimes you have to take the time to tell a story about a big life. It's a big life he had. So we try. Our ambitions were big. Our swing was big, but unfortunately I didn't fight it in terms of take on the system and try to shake. Could have. Who knows? What would have happened? I mean, it would have simply not come out. It would have been a chopped up cut in the States. Sure. Who knows? I mean, and basically, the real version would have been in Europe. At least one version would have existed.
All right.
But I don't think I could have gotten there in the time periods required. I think it would have taken another year.
Yeah. Well, speaking of taking on the system, just kind of jumping now to a project that you just have been working on with the PSA that you were put together for MoveOn.org and VoteVets.org. Just wanted to ask you how you became involved with that project and kind of talk a little bit about how you chose the particular soldier's viewpoint that you did for that PSA.
It wasn't my choice. It was truly a democratic experience where I just admired the organization, and they had come to me to be involved because there had been some 700 videos shot of Iraq veterans and their families' points of view, the other side of the coin that you don't quite get on the national media.
Right.
And they had 700 people do this in different places in the country. We saw the tapes, and some of them were incredibly moving. Others are very real, and they pruned it down to some, I think, 30, and they asked their 4 million participant viewers to judge them, to rate them, and one of them came out ahead, and that was this young man, John Bruns from Philadelphia, and and we cut his tape, and we made it 30 seconds and 60 seconds. It's longer, we're trying to cut it down and keep its integrity, and I think it really plays well and tells you what a veteran sees. And he went over there as a kid. He never been out of the country, and first thing he sees is Iraqis looking at him like they don't want him there. It's a very true feeling of frustration and chaos he gives.
Right. And it kind of wanted me to lead into talking to, as you look at a lot of the current administration and a lot of the current news that's happening and the situation in Iraq, I can't help but think back to some of the themes that you've echoed in, Nixon and JFK. And are we seeing basically another pattern of history repeating itself? And do you think there's ever going to be a way out of this?
It seems to be. It seems to be. I mean, if you look at the Roman Empire, they did fight a series of border wars. They get involved in messy situations that generally could have been avoided, It seems to always kind of like you get too big and powerful, I guess, or too rich. You like the bear in the honey pot. You stick your paws everywhere, and then you get stuck in these honey pots, and bumblebees come out and bite you in the nose. This is very bad. This is very bad.
Yeah.
But I think some people are making a bundle and are very happy about it. I feel that there are corporations in the world that are making a fortune off this war. Excuse me 1 second.
Sure.
Yeah, hi, Susie. I got the message. I'm on. Okay. Yeah, we started late, so let's go a little bit later.
Okay.
What was I saying? I think some people are making a lot of money off the war, and I don't think they care what country is fighting what country or what happens to America. I think a lot of them are American people who run multinational corporations, and they don't care. So I don't think this represents the interests of the majority of the American people at all. And most of them, by the way, voted against this war very clearly in this last election in November, as clear as can be, and that Bush's policies were failing.
Right.
And still he behaves almost like a dictator, as if he...
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, because it seems like even as, his approval ratings go down and all of that, it doesn't seem to matter to him. He's just like ignoring the will of the American people, basically.
That's correct.
It's amazing to see that boldness from...
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised. He's shown that kind of thing before. Reagan, you're probably too young, but when Reagan got... The country turned on Reagan. He was a very popular president, even maybe not for all his policies, but his figure, his handsomeness, his presentational attitude. He was a good-looking guy. And when 86 came and they found out Iran-Contra and the cynicism of that, there was a turn against him. But he yielded. Reagan, who was known as very tough about some things, was flexible.
Right.
We have not seen flexibility in Bush. If you think about death, you think about rigidity. If you think about life, you have to think about flexibility.
Right.
And it's a shame. It's a shame because I think we've lost so many opportunities around the world. Most recently, there's been talk about all the Iran-American negotiations were in 2002, when we went into Afghanistan the first time.
Right.
Iran was not against it. They hated the Taliban, and they were helping us in many ways.
Right.
there was, at that point, a serious negotiation that was going on, and there again, I think we blew an opportunity by cutting it off. I think we've blown an opportunity by ignoring also King Fahd's proposal for Israel, which he made a few weeks ago, the King of Saudi Arabia, where he said, let these two countries coexist as long as Israel goes back to the 1967 borders, which is feasible, whatever they say.
Yeah.
And there's got to be a rational solution, not a religious one, a rational solution for two tribes to live side by side, which they did in historic times.
Yeah. And I just wanted to ask you one last question, if you got time, just to kind of go back to the tying filmmaking into the current situation. I know you were asked before if you'd ever make a film about the Iraq conflict, and you said probably not. This is another generation's war. But you did mention about possibly examining the policies and the politics of the current time and administration. I just wanted to ask you, what you think you could do as a filmmaker, and any kind of potential projects that are on the horizon that you might be doing.
Jason, you always go off in those areas. I don't like to talk about the future because it's sort of like doing it's more important for me.
Yeah.
Talking about it takes the energy away. You know what that feeling?
Well, yeah, that's good.
I'd like to surprise you with something. I don't want to. Also, if I talk about something, it just kind of loses its energy.
Yeah. That's good.
But I hope to keep you always a little bit off balance.
Yes, that's a good thing.
How's it going? The show okay?
Yeah, it's been going good.
Yeah?
Yeah, doing good.
Good. So listen, I wish you luck with it, and I hope you get up there with Howard Stern and all that stuff.
Oh, geez, that's some lofty heights, but never can tell. But I really appreciate you calling in tonight, and thanks a lot.
Thank you, Jason, for all the the work you've done was amazing on the website.
Oh, thanks.
Over the years, it's just unbelievably.
Yeah, it's been great to talk to you.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Oliver.